My boyfriend said, "I need the apartment tonight. Don't come home and don't ask why." I said, "All right." I just checked the smart lock entry logs. When I saw he walked in with another woman, I sent the screenshots to her husband. An hour later, no one in that building forgot what happened next. I'm Tara, 31, and I'd been dating Michael for 2 years. We'd moved in together about 8 months ago. My apartment, my name on the lease. But he'd been staying there most nights anyway, so it felt like a natural step. The place had one of those smart lock systems with an app that showed entry logs with timestamps, a security feature I'd installed after a break-in happened 2 floors down last year, Monday evening, around 6 p.m. I was at work finishing up some reports when Michael texted, "I need the apartment tonight." I replied, "Okay, what time should I come back?" "Not sure. Maybe stay at Ben's. I'll text you when you can come home. What's going on? Just trust me. Don't come home and don't ask why." I stared at that message for a solid minute. The phrasing was weird. Not, "Can I have the apartment, but don't come home." Not, "I'll explain later, but don't ask why." All right. I called my friend Ben. "Hey, can I crash at your place tonight?" "Yeah, sure. Everything okay?" "Probably not. I'll tell you when I get there." I left work at 7 o'clock, stopped to grab some food, drove to Ben's apartment across town, got there around 8:15. Ben took one look at my face and handed me a beer. "What happened?" "Michael kicked me out of my own apartment, told me not to ask why." "That's suspicious." "Yeah." "You think he's cheating?" "I don't know. Maybe." "You going to check?" I pulled out my phone, opened the Smart Lock app. Already did. The log showed Michael entering at 7:47 p.m. Nothing unusual there, but at 8:02 p.m., there was another entry. The system logged it as guest access, which meant he'd let someone in. "He has someone there," Ben said, looking over my shoulder. "Could be anyone, a friend, family." "At your apartment, after specifically telling you to stay away and not ask questions." "Yeah." We sat in silence for a minute. Then I did something I'm not proud of, but don't regret. I opened the building's directory app. Our building had a system where residents could look up other residents for deliveries and emergencies. I scrolled through recent visitors logged at the main entrance. At 7:58 p.m., someone named Danielle Morrison had been buzzed into the building. She'd used guest access at the main door, which meant Michael had let her in remotely. "Who's Danielle Morrison?" Ben asked. "No idea." I Googled the name with our city, found a LinkedIn profile. Danielle Morrison, 38, married, works in finance. Her profile picture showed her in a suit. Attractive woman, wedding ring visible. "She's married," I said. I clicked through to her Facebook profile, which wasn't fully private. Her cover photo was a family shot. Her husband, 2 kids. Her husband's name was tagged. Richard Morrison. "What are you going to do?" Ben asked. I looked at the smart lock log again. Michael and this Danielle woman were in my apartment right now, doing God knows what on furniture I paid for. "I'm going to find out who her husband is." It took me maybe 20 minutes of social media digging. I found Richard Morrison's Instagram, public profile, lots of family photos, posts about his kids' soccer games, and his small business repairing vintage watches. He seemed nice, normal. Definitely didn't deserve what was probably happening right now. I screenshotted the smart lock entry log, showing both entries with timestamps. Took a photo of my lease showing my name and the apartment address. Wrote a message to Richard through Instagram DM. "Hi, Richard. You don't know me, but I think you need to see this. My name is Tara Walsh. I live at this address. My boyfriend Michael told me to stay away from my apartment tonight. I just checked my smart lock logs and saw that Danielle Morrison entered my building and apartment tonight. I thought you should know. Screenshots attached. I'm sorry to be the one telling you this." I sent it at 9:23 p.m. Ben looked at me. "You just sent that?" "Yeah. That's going to explode everything." "Good." Update 1. Richard read the message at 9:31 p.m. The read receipt showed he'd seen it. Then nothing. Ben and I sat there watching TV, neither of us really paying attention. I kept checking my phone. No response from Richard. No texts from Michael. At 10:47 p.m., Richard replied, "Where is this apartment?" I sent him the exact address and apartment number. "I'm on my way. Thank you for telling me." "He's coming to the apartment," I told Ben. "Right now?" "Yeah." "Are you going to?" "No, this is between him and them. I'm staying out of it. That's probably smart. At 11:03 p.m., I got a notification from the building's security system. Someone had accessed the main entrance. Not unusual. People come and go all night. But then at 11:06 p.m., there was a loud disturbance alert from the security camera in my hallway. Ben pulled up the building's security feed on his laptop. He dated someone in my building last year and still had access to the public camera streams. We watched as a man I assumed was Richard Morrison pounded on my apartment door. The door opened. Michael appeared wearing one of my t-shirts and shorts. Even through the grainy camera feed, you could see his face go from annoyed to horrified when he recognized Richard. Then Richard pushed past him into the apartment. The camera didn't show inside, but we could see the door was left wide open. We could hear yelling. Couldn't make out words, but the tone was clear. 30 seconds later, Danielle Morrison came running out of my apartment, pulling on her jacket, shoes in hand. Richard came out after her, screaming something we couldn't hear. Michael stood in the doorway, looking paralyzed. Richard threw something at Danielle. It looked like her shoes, hit her in the back as she ran toward the elevator. He turned back to Michael, said something that made Michael physically step back, then left. The whole thing lasted maybe 3 minutes, but the neighbors started coming out. Doors opening up and down the hall. People watching. My apartment door stayed open the whole time. Holy shit, Ben said. My phone buzzed. A text from Michael. Where are you? I didn't respond. Tara, please, I can explain. It's not what you think. Tara, answer me. I blocked his number. At 11:34 p.m., Richard messaged me again. Thank you. I needed to see that with my own eyes. I'm sorry this happened to you too. I'm sorry I had to tell you. Don't be. Better to know. She is dead to me. What are you going to do? Divorce lawyer first thing tomorrow and making sure everyone we know finds out what she did. Good luck. That man is not worth your time. He was right, but it still hurt. Update 2. I stayed at Ben's that night. Didn't sleep much. I kept thinking about Michael and Danielle in my apartment, in my space, wondering how long it had been going on, whether this was the first time or just the first time I'd caught him. Tuesday morning, I went to work but couldn't focus. Around 10 a.m., I got a call from my building manager. Ms. Walsh, we need to talk about last night's disturbance. I wasn't there. I know, but it was your apartment. Several tenants complained about the noise and commotion, and your door was left open for over an hour after the incident. My boyfriend was there, he can explain. Actually, he's not here. Your apartment is still open. We need you to come secure it. I left work and drove to the building. The manager met me in the lobby, looking uncomfortable. Ms. Walsh, I have to tell you, there's been some property damage. What kind? You should see it yourself. We went up to my floor. My apartment door was indeed wide open. I walked in and stopped cold. The place was trashed. Not in a burglary way, in a rage way. Picture frames smashed. Couch cushions slashed. My TV had a crack across the screen. Kitchen drawers dumped out. Clothes everywhere. What the hell happened? I asked. We're not sure. The cameras show the man, Richard Morrison, according to the police report, was only here for a few minutes last night. The damage happened sometime after 2 a.m. Your boyfriend was seen on camera throwing things, breaking items. Then he left around 4 a.m. and hasn't been back. I walked through the apartment in a daze. 2 years of my life with Michael ended with him destroying my space because he got caught. My laptop was smashed, my gaming console thrown against the wall. Every dish I owned apparently dropped on the floor. The bedroom was worse. Mattress slashed, clothes shredded, perfume bottles shattered. I'm so sorry, the manager said. We have evicted tenants for less than this. I took a breath. I want his stuff gone and the locks changed. We can do that, the manager said. And Ms. Walsh, several neighbors want to talk to you. They saw what happened last night and feel terrible. Mr. Chen from 4B said he has security footage from his doorbell camera if you need it. Thanks, I said. I'll talk to him. I spent the rest of Tuesday cleaning up. Ben came over after work to help. Several neighbors stopped by, some offering to help, some just being nosy, a few sharing what they'd heard and seen. Mr. Chen showed me his footage. Crystal clear view of Richard arriving, pounding on my door, the confrontation. Then, hours later, Michael systematically destroying everything he could get his hands on while crying and screaming. That poor man, Mr. Chen said about Richard. Coming home to find his wife like that. And you too. You both deserve better. Update 3. Wednesday. Michael tried to come back. The locks had been changed, so he couldn't get in. He called the building manager, demanding to be let in. The manager told him he was no longer a resident, and if he didn't leave, he'd call the police. Michael called me from a friend's phone. I answered without thinking. Tara, please, I need to get my stuff. You destroyed most of it when you trashed my apartment. I was upset. You were caught. It was a mistake. One mistake. We can work through this. One mistake? I said. Michael, you planned this. You told me to stay away. You brought a married woman to my apartment. How long has this been going on? It doesn't matter. How long? Silence. Then quietly, 3 months. 3 months, I repeated. I felt sick. Tara, please, I love you. Danielle meant nothing. Then why did you trash my apartment after her husband caught you? I was humiliated. Everyone in the building saw. I panicked. You were humiliated? You brought this on yourself. You sent her husband there. You ruined everything. No, I said. You ruined everything the first time you decided to cheat on me in my home. I just made sure the truth came out. I hate you. Good. Makes this easier. Your stuff that survived is in boxes in the lobby. Pick it up by Friday, or I'm donating it. I hung up and blocked that number too. Thursday, I heard through the building grapevine that Richard had indeed filed for divorce. Word was he'd shown up at Danielle's office, confronted her in front of her colleagues, and made sure everyone knew exactly what kind of person she was. Her company apparently had a morality clause in their contracts. She was placed on administrative leave pending investigation. Richard messaged me again. I heard your boyfriend destroyed your apartment. I'm so sorry. Not your fault, I replied. She made her choices. Still, that's awful. If there's anything I can do to help, just knowing someone else isn't taking their side makes me feel better. Trust me, she's not getting away with anything. My lawyer is making sure of that. Good, I said. And Richard, thank you for telling me. I know it was hard, but you saved me from wasting more time on someone who didn't deserve it. Same to you. We didn't talk after that. We didn't need to. We'd both done what needed to be done. Final update. It's been 2 months. My apartment's been repaired. Insurance covered most of it, though my rates went up. Michael never came to get his stuff. I donated it all. I heard he moved back to his parents' house in another state. His social media went private after someone apparently shared the story of what happened. Some mutual friends reached out, asking for my side. I told them the truth. Most believed me. A few thought I was cruel for sending Richard to the apartment. Those aren't my friends anymore. Danielle Morrison's life imploded. Her husband got full custody of their kids in the divorce. Her company let her go. Last I heard, she was trying to rebuild somewhere else. Good luck with that when your ex-husband and your ex-boyfriend's ex-girlfriend both have receipts. As for me, I'm doing okay. Better than okay, actually. I started therapy to process the betrayal and the aftermath. I started dating again. Nothing serious, just reminding myself what it feels like to be with someone who doesn't lie to my face. The building manager told me last week that I'm a legend among the neighbors. Apparently, the story of the smart lock logs and Richard showing up has become building lore. Mr. Chen brings me cookies every Sunday. Says I handled it with dignity. I don't know about dignity. I just know I wasn't going to be the fool who never found out. When Michael told me not to ask why, he was counting on me being too trusting to question him. But trust is earned, and he'd been burning through mine for 3 months without me knowing. The smart lock logs saved me from wasting more time on someone who was actively betraying me. The decision to tell Richard saved both of us from partners who didn't deserve our loyalty. The public nature of how it all went down wasn't me being vindictive. That was just consequences finally catching up with people who thought they could get away with it. Michael wanted the apartment to himself that night because he thought he'd gotten away with it. He thought I was too naive, too trusting, too passive to ever find out. He was wrong about all three. And every time I walk past my apartment door now, I remember that sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's just the truth delivered to the people who need to hear it most. Edit for people saying I should have confronted Michael directly first. Why? So he could gaslight me, lie to my face, make me doubt what I saw with my own eyes in the entry logs. I gave him plenty of chances to tell me the truth when he texted asking where I was. He chose to keep lying. That's on him. Edit 2. Yes, Richard and I are still in occasional contact. We're not friends exactly, but we check in every few weeks. We're both healing from betrayal, and sometimes it helps to talk to someone who understands what that feels like. It's not romantic, just two people who got screwed over by the same situation. Edit 3. The apartment damage was worth about $4,200. Insurance covered $3,800. I'm pursuing small claims court for the rest, though Michael's apparently judgment-proof since he's unemployed and living with his parents. I'll probably never see that money, but the principle matters more than the cash at this point.